So I had lost a lot of money trying to make money in real estate. Your situation has to be so bad that like, hey, running out of money and not being able to pay my mortgage and like not knowing how I'm going to feed myself, like that has to be a better option than the one you have. If you're at home listening and you have no clue of like how to get started, guess what? Nobody else does either.
Right, exactly.
Just show up and take goddamn action. If I had not lost that $35,000, I wouldn't be sitting in the chair I am today.
Hi, guys. Welcome to the Millionaire Blueprint. I'm Anna Mendoza.
And I'm Ashley Cleary.
And we have Ian Duffy with us. And we are so excited. He is a former W-2 employee, was a registered nurse, and he quit last year and now is developing real estate. And he is going to be reaching like 43 doors here this year. So
Yeah, big stuff happening. Retired ICU nurse, but thanks for having me on the show. I'm looking forward to chopping it up and hopefully giving some value to the listeners.
Yes, we're so excited. So we'll start with your story, Ian. So tell us what made you quit for our listeners, your W-2.
Yeah. So a little background. My name's Ian Duffy. I'm 33 years old. I started nursing on the East Coast in Philadelphia, where I grew up. COVID brought me out here and essentially rode the COVID wave until it was no more, and then realized I needed a new plan. So got into real estate investing, and that led me to development. But ultimately, to answer your question, the motivation behind quitting my W-2 was the fact that that job was just killing me. Really was putting limits on what I think I could achieve in this life.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think when a lot of people say, oh, go into healthcare, become a nurse, it's a great salary, relative to not making $100,000 before it's like you go from, college basically to making 120 grand a year. It looks great, but then you're capped for the rest of your life.
Right.
And there's no room for growth. So ultimately that coupled with how healthcare is changing just really pushed me to make some differences, make some changes.
Yeah, no, that's very courageous. Being that I know we were talking earlier, your father is a doctor.
Pain management physician,
Yes,
so he's been in the game.
And your mother's a nurse.
Correct.
So coming from the medical background in your family, I know that had to be hard to kind of pivot from that, right? And have the support
Absolutely.
needed. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you only know what you know growing up. And, when you're 18 years old and you go to college and they say, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? Sign here and take out $250,000 of debt.
Right.
I don't know. I don't think I had any life experiences until I hit 30, you know? So what do you want to know? What do you want to do for the rest of your life when you turn 18? You do what's familiar to you.
Yes. Yeah. Now, when you decided to do real estate, well, first off, why did you choose real estate over anything else?
Yeah. So one dinner kind of like changed the course of my life forever. I was going out to eat at this place right next to my house in Ocean Beach. I know you guys are doing a project there. Right in OB. So went out with some travel nurses. They recognized some guys in the restaurant and were like, oh, let's put our tables together.
Yeah.
So I had been at the end of the table with all of those guys and not next to my nursing friends.
Right.
So we're chopping it up and, they're like, oh man, like, you're 28, you're 29. Like I was homeless when I was your age, living out of my car. But now I'm making $40,000 a month net in my multifamily portfolio.
Wow, yeah.
So that sparked the catalyst, and
you're like, wait a minute.
You're like, wait,
I'm like, that sounds interesting. So dinner ended, and they're like, come hang out with us. And they were having a party that night, Saturday night, and sit down with these guys and everything. The party's going on. I'm in the corner with like two guys, right?
Yeah.
And we're having a ball. Like, I told them my plan was to just buy a single family home, rent it out, leave, go to Bali for 10 years, come back, that'll double, and I could live off of $2 million for the rest of my life. And they're like, no, you got to buy multifamily. So that was the catalyst that started everything.
Right. So did you ever buy like a single family to invest in, or did you go straight into multifamily?
Yeah, so my first deal is my primary. It's a house hack. For those at home that don't know what a house hack is, you just do co-living, you rent the additional bedrooms, and it's
very
what I needed to do to start.
Yeah. Okay. And
so how did you get into your first deal?
My first deal. So my primary was basically my first deal. That's not really like too exciting. My first development deal, on the other hand, very exciting.
Yeah.
So I had lost a lot of money trying to make money in real estate.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, because it's very
Everybody
important.
wants to hear the failures and mistakes and
Mhm.
stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, it's,
Mm.
and I might have just lost $40,000 last week, so,
Oh my
that's another
gosh.
can't really talk about it, it'll probably be going to mediation and litigation,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
yeah, it's, you're playing in the big arena, this is
Yeah.
the big leagues,
Mhm.
Mhm.
so, try to buy a villa in Bali, I thought I was, cool, like, "Hey, I'm gonna have this short-term rental." The market over there is popping off. I lived
Yeah,
there for
right.
5 summers as a
Yeah.
travel nurse
Wow.
and ended up not working out, so there was $30,000. I
And
made
can we elaborate on that? How did it not end up working out? What went wrong?
Yeah, so I did a solo podcast on this, and I want to make it very clear that me losing my money,
Right.
all 10 fingers point back at me. Like it is 100% my responsibility
Yeah, yeah.
for what happens. I can blame the developer there for stealing my money, all this other stuff, but it was ultimately me that not
Mhm.
did not vet the investment.
Mhm.
So it was going to be a luxury villa in Bali, Indonesia, and I wired him a $30,000, $35,000 non-refundable deposit, and laws started changing. I flew home. I had to fly back, 30-hour flight, to sign all this paperwork, open up my bank account. And I'm like, dude, this is not the investment I think I'm
Right.
for me.
Right,
Oh,
right, right.
wow.
And he basically told me to get out all these contracts for me. There's never any contracts I signed. He was just
Mm.
very kind of shooting from the hip. Brand new developer in Bali
Mhm.
and postured himself as a guy who knew he was doing. So
Mm.
Mm.
again, my fault, but
Yeah.
that was the best $35,000 I ever
That's
lost.
what I was
That
gonna
was
say, it's
your
a $30,000 learning experience, so
right.
I feel like we all need those, you know?
I have paid for an undergraduate degree, I paid for a nursing degree,
Mhm.
and I spent a lot of money on education, but
And
Yeah.
probably a master's now, in real estate.
yeah, I'm like a doctorate now,
Yeah,
but,
right.
yeah, I mean, that's a Harvard lesson.
Yeah.
I switched my focus from, earning to learning, and
Yeah.
that's what
Mhm.
losing that 35K forced me to get into these masterminds and these
Right,
communities
yeah,
where you
beautiful.
pay, you
Yeah.
either gotta pay with time or money, right?
Right,
Mhm.
right,
So
right.
I chose to pay with money,
Yes.
'cause I'm solving for time. I wanna get my
Right,
time back and have financial freedom.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So, that basically forced me to put my head down and learn for a year, and
Uh-huh.
if I had not lost that $35,000, I wouldn't be sitting in the chair I am today.
That's
It's
right, that's
true.
right. You probably still just have that villa in Bali right now,
I mean, I probably would've I was about to wire another $90,000 to, phase 2, and I would've sunk more money into this black hole, which,
Yes.
ultimately would've probably bankrupt me, been a terrible
Yes,
investment,
yes, yeah.
but
No,
everything
that's
happens for a
true,
reason.
that's true. Now, your commercial side. So after
Yeah,
that, you went straight into commercial real estate?
correct.
Okay, so tell us about that first deal. How were you able to transition and get the funding, for all our newbies here? Uh,
Yeah,
how did that play out for you?
great question. So, before I understood the concept of leverage, I was the funding, right?
Mhm.
So I had about $200,000 left in my name, and when you tell people that you have money to invest, everyone's like a piranha. Like they're
Right,
like,
Mhm.
"Hey,
right.
my deal, blah blah blah,"
Oh, yeah.
IRR, all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So I sat there with still the sting of Bali and be like, you know what? Like I need to really
Yeah.
vet who I'm investing with.
Right.
So I took a year to vet my partners, not a year, maybe 6 months, and ended up putting $200,000 into the deal that is going to change my life. It was the
Mm.
biggest financial swing I took of my life, and I bet it all, everything I had. If that deal would have fell through for whatever reason, I lost that money, I'm not sure where I'd be.
Right.
But that deal alone is going to force about $5 million of equity into a single family home that we're going to exit at a 17-unit apartment complex.
Oh,
Nice.
About
very
10 or
cool.
$11 million is going to be the value of that.
Nice. So it's a
Okay.
single family,
Correct.
San Diego?
Yes.
Okay, so single family in San Diego, zoned for multifamily,
Correct.
and you vetted all this with like your lot size and all that stuff,
Yeah.
right? And then now you said how many units?
17.
17.
Wow.
So how now with your 200,000, that doesn't cover, we all know it's San Diego. That's like a drop in the bucket,
Correct. Yeah.
So how did you fund the rest of it?
Yeah, so we buy the property with a fix and flip loan, right? So anyone listening at home, I'll kind of make it kind of like rudimentary so everybody can follow along. But when you buy a property, you're not buying it with a bank loan. You're buying it
Mhm.
with somebody else's money, a private lender, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
we can get into that. But essentially, you buy it with a fix and flip loan. You have very low down payment when you do that. So they cover about 90% of the purchase
Right.
and 100% of our rehab. And then that note or that loan is good for 12 months.
Right.
So that whole 12 months, that first year, we work with our architect in the city to get our plans approved.
Right.
Once we have approved plans, then we refinance out of our fix and flip loan, which basically means you take out a new loan to pay back the first one.
Yeah.
And that will be our construction loan.
Right.
So that's how we financed it. But
Yeah.
on the front end, you are still responsible for soft costs.
Right. Yes.
soft
a lot of
costs
people
are-
don't realize that. Yeah.
Yeah, everything that doesn't go into like building the actual thing,
Right,
like
right.
wood and nails and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So my $200,000 bought me 25% of the equity in the project.
Right.
But we were going to make so much money based off the cost basis and what it'll be worth that we're going to rip out all of our initial capital,
Right.
maybe a little more, and we'll be cash flowing, $20,000 to $25,000 a month off the bat.
Oh, that's
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Now, so that one is, I think, your first deal, right?
My baby.
Your baby, your baby that led. So, given that there's no proof of concept yet because it's not developed yet, you went into more deals, and was that hard to get funding for those or as well?
Great question. So now that I'm looking to hey, how can I get out of healthcare? Like I really need to set myself up. So
Right.
I think a skill is recognizing opportunities.
Right.
And that's not a skill that many people have. I'm not
Right.
saying I'm smarter than anybody, but I was always very had a good eye for hey, this is something here. We're onto something. So after we entered into our agreement, me and my partners on that 17-unit project, I said, you guys have architecture design, you have construction, you have property management, all in-house. Your costs are super cheap. The biggest barrier to you scaling is capital. So why don't I go in there and try to find some money for you guys? And I don't think my partners really took me seriously in the beginning. But a year later, I've raised just over $5 million. And we never having raised a single dollar in my life.
Oh, can we
Wow.
touch really on this?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so tell us, or the audience, how were you able to do this? Did you start a business just to raise funds? How did you raise this money, or is it just people you know?
Yeah, great question. So I think the biggest misconception with, hey, I raised $5 million. You must think that somebody taught me how to do that. Nobody knows what they're doing. And if you're at home listening and you have no clue of how to started,
That's
guess
true.
what? Nobody else does either.
Right, exactly.
Just show up and take goddamn action. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right,
And you'll figure
right.
it out.
Right, right.
So I started hitting up, friends and family, and everybody has a network.
Right.
Right. And how I think I was so successful my first year is because I didn't sell the deal. I didn't sell the return. I sold my story. I'm Ian. I'm burnt out. I'm in healthcare. I really love what I do. I love generally helping human beings, but I hate that we are so kind of held down by these bureaucratic bullshit
Right.
rules and laws and
Right.
regulations and
Yeah.
doing all these things that
From
don't
when
make
we
sense.
were little. I mean,
Yeah.
first day in school, especially. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Don't collaborate.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
share answers.
Yeah, don't share answers.
Don't be a team.
Yeah.
Don't leverage anything.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so $5 million. Okay, so
Mhm.
raising that money, do you use that money now to fund your deals, or do you also lend out to other people's deals too? You know what I mean?
Great question. So
Yeah.
for the first 5 acquisitions that we made, I was raising for my partner's deals because
Okay.
mind you, I was still at the bedside and I'm still learning the game.
Right.
So I thought very good rule of thumb in life is solve wealthy people's problems, right? Learn what their bottleneck is and insert yourself to add value to solve that problem, right? So I knew that if I could solve their capital problem, right, and just collect a little bit of my own money in terms of the commissions, I could essentially just get a front row seat to have learning a doctorate in real estate.
Yes.
So for the first 5 projects, it was all of theirs, right? So I got a very small percentage of equity, but still really good.
Right.
5% in a $10 million project, that's still significant.
Right.
But now I am taking down my own deals. I am funding the financing, funding my own capital. And I'm just hiring my partner to continue to hold my hands so I can learn how to do this without him, but in a way with him.
Nice.
We're going to scale a development firm to hopefully take down giants and teach people how to do the same.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh,
very
that's so
cool. And
cool.
so do you live off of those, is it an acquisition fee? Is that how you get paid, or how are you getting paying
Yeah,
yourself
yeah.
basically.
So I'd say the first 5 projects, my partners maybe had, 6 to $8 million of equity, like
Uh-huh.
at exit, and that might
Uh-huh.
be 2 or 3 years, basically at
Right.
the end of the project.
Right.
Not even counting, what they would make on the construction side.
Yeah.
But basically, I had to eat, I had to sell my equity in a lot of those deals to be able to walk away from healthcare and put my
Right.
head down and to
Mhm.
make this, to really just burn the boats and
Right.
become a professional like in the space.
Right.
So it sucks, I made $60,000. They made $6 million. Love my partners,
Right.
but
Right.
that's the option that I chose because
Right.
that's where I was at that point in my life.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah. But now that I get to own 50% of the project, I get the
Yes.
lion's share. And that helps me make room for other people that want to
Right.
hop on board, raise capital for me.
Right.
I
Right.
can
Right.
doing
Yeah.
that right now with a couple
Yeah.
other nurses
Yeah.
trying to help them get their start. So
Yeah.
so that's essentially how I was getting paid in the beginning and kind of helped me exit healthcare
Yeah.
with
Right.
still being able to afford my mortgage.
Yeah, right?
So I think
know,
that's
'cause
where everyone's
that's
like,
that transition,
Mhm.
like, you're used to the W-2, the paycheck every
Yeah.
other week, and then
Yeah.
now you're like, "Hold on, I'm doing this all on my own, I gotta figure
Yeah.
it
How
out,"
am I gonna
right?
get paid? Yeah.
So tell us about the day that you quit your W-2. It's like the dream of
I
many.
know, right?
Yeah. I was never asked this question before, so let me find a way to make sense of it because it was a flurry of emotions. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So I'd gotten injured on the job. Worked for one of the worst healthcare institutions. Like it's just so bad. The burnout. The being at state ratio, meaning we couldn't. We're at state law. We can't
Right.
accept any more patients, right?
Right, right.
And we're basically I'd say those hospital institutions that run like this, they expect you to do twice the amount of work with half the help,
Right,
right?
Mhm.
right.
So I'd gotten injured on the job and I'd taken about 6 months off. And that
Mhm.
was really like my taste of freedom. Like, okay, like now I can focus more
Right.
on this stuff,
On
right?
that stuff, yeah.
So I had a workers' comp case. I had a big back injury, like a bulging disc. And then I went back to work and I was back at work for 2 days. The first day I was like, why the fuck did I come?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Can I curse on the
Oh,
pod?
yeah,
Yeah.
curse all day long, yeah.
Because I have to be like human here. I
Yeah.
mean, like you
Right.
just look around, you're like, what am I at? What did I just come back to?
Exactly.
It's like going back into like a toxic relationship that
Right.
you can go round 10, but it's
Right.
going to get worse every single time.
Right.
Mhm.
And did you have a lot of anxiety, like, going back? Like, the day before, the night before?
Not so much anxiety as much frustration.
Mhm.
A lot of feelings. It's like, when you pull into like the hospital at 6:45 and like your blood pressure is already like 160 over
Yeah,
like
Right.
120.
Walking into, I know.
Yeah. So I did my first shift, and when you're injured or on modified duty, you have to do just like things that don't make sense. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
hey, I'm gonna
Yes.
audit fall charts and all this stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
so you want me to like the aliens that are watching us, like
Yeah.
they're actually seeing us do this. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Like this is like really like this yields no result and no
Right,
point. But
Right.
I'm gonna spend your money. Like you're gonna pay me to do this, right?
Right. Yeah.
So we can go all day about like the stuff that doesn't make sense in
Yeah.
hospitals. But the first day I went home and I just like really thought about it to myself. And then like the next day I clock in and I'm like, you know what? Like, I think this is it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
called my mom and I
Oh.
was like,
How did she react?
like in a way, I was like, hey mom, can I quit? Like not really. I didn't ask it like that, but
Yeah, like
just,
her advice.
I told her, it's like my mom's my best friend.
Yeah.
I tell her everything. And so she was like, you do you. She's like, I believe in
Mm.
you. And, it was really cool. So I went into my manager's office at 5 p.m. I was like, hey, can I steal you for a quick second? And I said, I'm out. And she's like, all right, do you want to do like 2 weeks? And I was like, no, like this second, like I'm leaving.
Wow.
So I left and went in my car and I cried for about 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah. I think
called-
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
It's an identity shift, right?
Yeah.
When you do something for 10 years, like it's your identity.
Right.
And
Yes.
when you just burned that bridge,
Right.
and you're not going back,
Right.
all right. Like
Yeah.
now it's time to get
Now
to
it's
work.
go time.
Life
Yeah.
gets really real
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, I it was bittersweet, but that was the day I quit nursing.
Now,
Wow.
did you have money saved up to help support you in the meantime in that whole transition period?
I
Right.
walked out that day with just about $30,000 in my bank account.
Yeah.
That's great.
And
And yeah, I called my buddy Nick, who's still a nurse.
yeah.
He's like doing exactly what I'm doing now. And I was
Oh.
like, dude, you're my second phone call. He's like, what do you do for money? I'm like, I don't know. It's like gonna be ramen for a long time because you don't know when your next deal is coming and your next paycheck. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the stuff that nobody talks about. Like, that
Right.
stuff sucks.
Right. Right. And then within your circle, though, did you get a lot of support with this, or did you get a lot of people saying, "What are you doing? Like,
Um,
you're crazy."
I got support from the people that you think would have supported me, and I got the opposite from people who you would think would have the lend their opinion the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom told me, she's like, just please promise me you'll keep your license active for at least 1 year in case you need
Right.
it.
Right.
And I'm like, Mom, I have like the boats are burned. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm ripping it up.
I surrendered my license. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So
wow.
there's no way I can physically go back.
You sealed the deal. You're
Wow.
like,
Yeah.
that's it. I'm all
That's
in.
pretty awesome
Yeah.
because I feel like me and Anna have talked about it, and I'm like, well, we could always go back. They'll take us back with open
I
arms,
know, it's
you
like the
know?
backup plan.
But I think that's great that you did that and you were just like, nope, cutting loose. And yeah, I think that's very cool.
I think, like, when you're tested in life, you surprise yourself, but no one's ever like, everybody's too scared to like take that first risk, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And you have to be okay with uncertainty, and you just really like, your situation has to be so bad that
Mhm.
like, hey, running out of money and not being able to pay my mortgage and like
Yeah.
not knowing how I'm gonna feed myself, like
Right.
that has to be a better option than the one
Right.
you have, you know?
Right.
So I was
Mhm.
definitely at that point.
Right. Right. So speaking of that, mindset wise,
Mhm.
I know you are hanging out now with people that were successful in real estate, but
Mhm.
what is it? What transitions did you, like internally, have to deal with?
Yeah. Okay, that's a great question. And there's a great quote. I forget who said it, but the greatest sale you must close in your life is convincing yourself that you're capable of anything, you know? And once
I
you can
love
do
it.
that, yeah,
Mhm.
you're like, you get this, I don't know, this kind of this gusto,
Right.
and then things start working. And the way the universe works is very, it rewards hard work and like
Right.
determination. And
Right.
as long as you are trying to help people and
Mhm.
yield a positive result, like there's so many people willing to help you get there.
Right.
And
Right.
opposite of healthcare, which is a ton of competition. Who's the
Right.
best nurse? Who's the
Right.
smartest? Who's got the most
Right.
certifications?
Right.
The opposite exists in real estate.
Right.
They're like,
Right.
oh, you're a newbie? Like,
Right.
hey, don't do X, Y, and Z because that's how
Right.
I lost, $500,000 and
Right.
I
We
don't
try
want
to
you to
help.
do the
Yeah,
same.
exactly.
Yeah.
No, I
I
think
think
so.
that's what we've learned too. I think it's everyone in real estate is just so open and just
Oh,
like
super
offers
open.
so much information and all like the
Mhm.
webinars and the group meets and the networking is just great. Like you think the opposite, you think a lot of people would gatekeep, but it doesn't seem like that's the
No,
case at
Zero.
all. Yeah.
zero. Yeah,
Surprisingly,
Which is
yeah, zero.
zero.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just so crazy.
So moving forward, though, how you're looking at 43 doors.
In the pipeline, yes, right
Yes.
now.
What is your okay? How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
33.
33. So, what is your goal? Are you going to keep going till a certain age, a certain number of doors, certain amount of money? Do you have anything like
My
set
number is 4.
for? Okay.
And
What's
I'm gonna
the
steal this
four?
from my partner because I asked him the same question.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
you just
Okay.
asked me, and he said
I'm
his number was
interested.
4.
Okay.
So I want 4 buildings. I want 1 for each of my kids and 1 for my girlfriend. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, fully paid off, net income of $20,000 to $50,000 a month. Like, you only need to own a couple of these assets in life to
Right.
truly, truly be set. So
Yeah.
my number is 4. But I don't know. I think your plan changes many times.
Mhm.
My plan changed many times 2 years ago, and then
Mhm.
1 year ago, and then
Mhm.
today.
Mhm.
So, I don't know. I'm solving for time. And what I mean by that is I think there's 2 things people are really solving for in life. That's either money or time. So if you're solving for money and you just want like a little bag to
Mhm.
retire on, great.
Mhm.
You can take very low risks your entire life and get there.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I want my time back.
Right.
I think us as bedside nurses, we understand the fact that, better than anybody else, that human life is precious and it's
Super
Mhm.
precious.
not
Yes.
promised.
Yes.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
See too many deaths, too many injuries,
You take care of the
diseases.
person who was like on his way to Walmart with his family and, got T-boned by a car
Mhm.
and,
Right.
3 of his kids are dead and you're taking care of him in the surgical ICU. You're going to get groceries.
Right.
Tomorrow is not promised. So I'm doing every single thing I can to get my time back. So whatever number or amount of assets or cash flow I can to
Right.
get my time back, that's what I'm solving for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Love
That's
it.
great.
I love it.
Yeah. You're
Um,
motivating us to leave
yeah.
our jobs.
So okay, another question for me I want to know. Um, why develop apartment buildings rather than just go out and buy a
Yeah.
like a like 20 doors that's already established?
Great question. Because when you buy 20 doors, you're already buying the value of 20 doors, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what we do is buy a single family home and then take it to 20 doors.
Mm-hmm.
How do we do that? Everybody wants to live in Southern California. There's not
Mm-hmm.
enough houses. There's not enough room. Prices are absolutely insane, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to combat the lack of supply and the high demand, the city of San Diego rezoned a lot of areas.
Right.
They've favored developers by saying, okay, listen, if you give us a couple affordable units, we'll allow you to go big.
Mhm.
So they have all these incentive programs like the bonus ADU program, complete communities, state density. These are incentive programs or rules we have to build by that allow us to create so much wealth,
Mm-hmm.
right? So by buying at a single family home, like you're not buying the 20 unit, you're buying the price of a single family home.
Right.
So we take that $1 million house to a $10 million asset
Mm-hmm.
instead of taking that $5 million 20 unit that's really old and tired to like a $6 million tired asset just by renovating it and improving it a little bit.
Exactly.
So that's the sauce.
And your gain is so much more, isn't it? I mean, that's what we feel when we develop too. So I feel like definitely in the end, there's way more money to be made when you develop.
In development, especially in markets like, Southern California, you manufacture equity out of thin air. Like
Right.
you are literally printing money,
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just crazy what you can do. You just add so much value by adding square footage, and your property. You already know what it's going to be worth by before you even write an offer on it.
Right.
It's not based off opinions like residential real estate or houses to houses how they transact.
Right.
You're basically the value of your building is how much money does this thing make.
Right. And I think a lot of people have the misconception. A lot of them like to buy out of state because it's technically cheaper, for the cash flow and stuff. How do you feel about that? Why are you only investing in San Diego, right?
There's people who tell you, I will never invest in California. I will never develop in California, the landlord-tenant laws. But it's like the quickest way to an average life is to do exactly what everybody else is doing. Right. And if you want a non-average life, you have to be, in fact, that exception. Right. So while people will be like, I'll never touch California, I will never touch anything outside of California.
Right.
Never say never. I might diversify into some multi, when that day comes. But I think that, we've got a recession-proof game here.
Right.
We run the same blueprint over and over, and we did not invent the wheel. We are not trying to do anything crazy here. We're just following the blueprint that other successful developers have laid out in front of us.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. Really, the only difference I think between out of state and here is those tenant, besides the price, of course, is those tenant landlord laws. They can be kind of tough, but there are ways around it to get what you need.
Yeah, sure. And that's like comes back to like, hey, I'll buy something out of state and it'll be passive, but like you pay for that passivity.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and then you have to trust somebody to really handle your asset and care about it as much as you do without them being the owner.
They do not. Trust me, I've been through it.
Exactly. So, I can drive 30 minutes to my projects. I can take my investors through there. We get really excited. We look at foundation and framing. We walk these buildings, and it's just like the energy that, people just like, wow, I can make 35% each year on my money.
Right.
Like my 401k was doing 7%.
Right.
This is 5 times as fast. And then it starts to click for them.
Right.
And you're making a ton of money, but you're making them helping them making a ton of money.
Yeah.
So it's just win-win. And, that's why I started Scrubs to Estates.
Right. Yeah.
My goal, just helping people make better financial decisions, because that we're not taught this in school.
Right.
We are groomed our entire lives to be employees, not entrepreneurs. And I'm pissed off because I was groomed my entire life. We were prepared for a world that no longer exists.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, there's $3 trillion of money that exchange hands each day. And you're telling me that like my only chance of having like a successful life and a happy life is to work 40 years in a job that kills me?
Right. And saving a 401k. You save, maybe hopefully you have $1 million. That's going to be worth like $600,000 by the time you retire.
I did a video on it. If you max out your 401k and your IRA for like 40 years and you wanted to live in San Diego, it would last you 9 years before you ran out of money. What a retirement. And you're not going to Vegas and you're not buying Bugattis. You're like fixed income.
Right.
So why is this marketed to us as the sauce? It's not.
It is not.
I'm pissed off. I was lied to. And I want to help everybody else like learn the stuff that I'm learning.
I know. And it's like changing our mindset. But then even like your parents, you're saying like, there's older people that are investors, and it's like, educating them because that's all they know and that's all we were taught. So it's
Yeah.
like it's nice that we can like change like our way of thinking, but not everyone can, even with
Right.
like education and books
Right.
and everything. So
Yeah.
I have a
it
great
really
point on
is.
that. So,
Yeah.
my dad, physician, makes
Yeah.
$600,000 a year.
Yeah.
Tax bill, $250,000.
Right.
To Uncle Sam every single year.
Yes.
Hey, I want to get another property. Like, why don't you buy a property out here? We can
Mhm.
utilize it as a short-term rental.
Right.
You can show material participation
Yeah.
in the property via like the IRS code.
Right.
And you can use that $250 instead of going to Uncle Sam. It's the down payment
Right.
in a cash flowing asset.
Right.
What do you think he said?
He said no.
My CPA never heard
Yeah,
of bonus
CPA,
depreciation.
Yeah,
Yes.
CPA.
It's like-
I swear.
It's a family friend who's been doing his taxes for like
That's what I
35
know.
years. I
Yeah.
get it, but like, isn't it your
Certified
job?
pain
Oh,
in the
yeah.
ass.
Yeah.
That's what
It's like-
CPA is.
If you were sick, yeah, exactly. Certified pain in the ass. I tell them they're like doctors, like mechanics. Just because you have the license or like
Yeah.
the credentials doesn't mean you're
Right.
actually good at your job.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it took a very long time before my parents could see proof of concept, and you want to get frustrated. You want to
Yeah.
shake them and be like,
Well, especially because they have the money.
Yeah.
Not,
Right,
not
yeah.
even just for you, but just in general. Like you
Yeah.
see this now, and they're still stuck in this box.
Yes.
You know what I mean? From
my dad's way of showing love is to provide.
right.
Right. That's how he was raised. We gotten a lot closer the last 10 years,
Mhm.
but I was like, Dad, I love you. But like, I just, wanted you to be there more. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
you're doing rounds, nights, weekends, holidays, like, at the hospital. It's like he just wasn't there for, a lot of the good, like the important things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, at the end of the day now, he's 70 years old and he's afraid of retiring because he only has about $4 million to his name. So I'm like, Dad, like, why can't you just like listen to me
Yeah.
and I will give you an asset that
Yeah.
produces income that you can give to us. And that will be like, hey, you can stop working.
Right.
And like, you just solved your problem of like
Right.
giving us something when you
Right.
leave.
That's all
right.
they know.
So yeah, again, you can just bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
I
Yeah.
know. My mom too. Has like 3 million in the bank, 9 in the bank in her retirement. I'm like, Mom, just let's buy another. Her house is paid off. Let's buy another house. Oh no, 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 no! Like
Yeah.
that's too risky. I'm like, that's too risky. Okay, like they just don't understand the whole concept, like you
Yeah.
said. And
Yeah.
like trying to educate, and I think they're just from that world of
Yeah.
pay off your house, work till you're 65.
Yeah.
Saving your 401k.
Mhm.
It's quite sad.
Buy
But
shit you don't need, like a car and like,
Yeah.
all this like other
Yeah.
status stuff. They're like just ego investments,
right,
Yeah.
My dad would
exactly.
buy these expensive cars and like, I'm like 18 years old and I'm like driving them because I need a vehicle.
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
ask for an Audi, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
you
you're
gave me your
like,
A4.
well, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, and it's like you like hit a rock and you're like, what? It's just like, well, like the things you own start owning you. And it's just like,
Right.
is this really what this whole thing is about? You know what I
Right,
mean? Like we have
right.
one at bat in this life.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to make the coolest fucking story possible.
Right.
And you need to start unlearning behaviors
Yeah.
that were ingrained in you from a young age.
Right.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
don't think it's our parents' fault. They were
No.
just taught the same thing that the person above them.
Right.
They're teaching us what they were
Right.
taught.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's the scariest part is you feel sometimes your support group, all the people around you, they don't see what you see. And so they're kind of
Mhm.
not really, they don't mean to be against you, but just the things that they say, it's kind of,
Yeah.
you start questioning yourself. I know I did. I
Yeah.
was like, am I making the right decision here? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because everybody's like, don't do it. You're
I
being too
know.
risky.
But I think it's
Mm.
great. Like not everyone like even as that's how I met Anna. Like she doesn't gatekeep. She was talking about it at work.
I was
and
at
I
work
feel like that's like
everybody's
our
this.
job,
Everybody
to
buy a
like
house.
show others, And so it's like not keeping it to ourselves and like changing the way they think, like our
Right.
kids and like
Mhm.
just everyone around us. So I
Right.
think like little by little we'll all get there. You
So
know?
Yeah.
that's awesome that you're so to the audience, how do they find you? And you said you developed the Scrubs to real estate.
Scrubs to Estates. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was the grandfather ChatGPT came up with that one, but I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is
Grandfather.
this is actually like
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of the wisest. I was like, this actually kind of has like a ring
I
to
love
it, but
chat.
Yeah.
Scrubs to Estates is my brand, my Instagram handle, like whatever you want to call it. It's
Okay.
the name of my fund, Scrubs to Estates Capital. But my goal here is to just help other people buy back their time. And a lot of my friends are just physicians and they're just so burnt out. And
Yeah.
like, what's the point of making all this money if you're not happy? And half of it goes to Uncle Sam.
Right.
And it's just again, it's like everybody has options, and
Right.
I want to help people like understand that they have options.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't need to conform to the normal.
Right.
Because like I said, like the average way the easiest way to an average life is do what everybody else is doing.
Mhm.
Right.
So Scrubs to Estates is basically like my idea, my fund to help people make better investments,
Mm-hmm.
and we teach them along the way. So the
Right.
people who
Awesome.
invest with us, my partner runs a kind of like a development mastermind. We show people how to actually do these deals, and one day, like we want you to graduate
Yeah.
and not
Right.
to need us,
Yeah.
Right.
and then to help the next person.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I can't help people at the bedside anymore, but like if I can give somebody time back, I can
Right.
change somebody's life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No,
That's
that's
so
definitely it.
awesome.
And I always say I want to leave this world significant,
Yep.
meaning I don't care really about the money. It's
Mhm.
about helping others. And,
Mhm.
I want someone to say, like, oh, yeah, Anna helped me.
Yeah.
Anna changed my life. That's like the
Yep.
best. You know what I mean?
How good is it, like, when a patient would tell you, like, "Hey, like, you made a difference," you know?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
that's what, like, makes 6 months of shitty shifts be like,
Yeah.
Right.
"This is still worth it." You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Right.
when they're
Right.
like, "Hey, I will
Yeah.
not forget you."
Right.
Or like, "Hey, tell your mom, like, how much you helped me," because like,
Right.
like, you get to
Right.
know them, and, like,
Yeah.
I talk
Yeah.
about my mom all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for someone, to come back and be like, "Hey, like, thank you for changing the course of my life and, like, giving me just showing me," it hasn't happened yet, but I know it's gonna happen, and,
Right.
that's what keeps me up every single morning,
Yeah.
just going 100 miles an hour and fills
Right.
my cup.
Yeah. No,
Keep the grind. Yeah.
know.
I think so too.
I'm going to ask one more question for the podcast.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, so let's see how I want to word this. What would you tell tell the audience how, if for someone who wants to quit their W-2, who's kind of on the fence, what kind of encouragement or, I guess, how am I trying to say this?
How do I get their asses off the couch to take action?
How do you get someone to actually take that leap of faith to quit their W-2 and chase their dreams?
Yeah, I'll start with a quote. So, my business coach said this. The two most addicting things
Mm-hmm.
in the world are heroin and a monthly paycheck. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, it's difficult to walk away. Like we
Right.
were all there,
Right.
But once you like understand the concept that the world is spinning, whether you make changes or not,
Mhm.
tomorrow will come, next year will come,
Right.
10 years from next decade will come.
Mhm.
You have options today to
Mhm.
permanently change the course of your life forever.
Mhm.
And you need to really be honest with yourself. Am I in alignment with, the person I'm being? Is this job making me happy? Am I giving value to society?
Mhm.
Is this really going to give me the one at bat that I want out of life? And if
Mhm.
that answer is no, what you're doing
Right.
right now is not going to get you there, then you really need to do some inventory and be like, maybe it's time for a change.
Right.
And
right.
nobody's saying to bet it all on the farm and do all these crazy things. Like my exit out of healthcare was like 2.5 years.
Right. Right.
It takes time, but once your situation, like once you wake up every single day and you go to a job that makes you miserable, and you know in your heart that like I was born to do more in my
Mhm.
time here,
Mhm.
that voice you need to listen to. So
Yeah.
if you have those feelings, listen to that and take a chance. Like you
Yes.
said, you can
Amen.
always go back to the bedside.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. No, that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
That's great.
Yeah. So thank you, Ian. Thank you for coming to the
Yes.
show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate
Yeah.
having me on.
Yes. And again, Scrubs to Estate.
Yeah, so my Instagram handle is
Mm.
Scrubs to Estates.
Okay.
We have a lot of projects coming on our website. It's kind of just some information about us.
Yeah.
But if you guys ever want to learn about real estate investing or maybe being a partner in one of our projects,
Yes.
shoot me a DM. Even if I can just help you underwrite your first deal and I
Mhm.
get nothing like no benefit other than to like get you your start, I will do it.
Yes.
I will give you an hour of
Awesome.
my time because when I had nothing of value to give to the guy above me, he sat down and had coffee with me and gave
Right.
me an hour
Right.
of his time.
Yeah. So now
Yeah.
it's payback.
Got to
Let's
pay
pay
it
it
forward.
forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Thank you,
Yeah.
Ian.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you for the next podcast.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.